I guess it begins when I was a kid. I always had kind of addictive tendencies, I guess. Never really feeling like I belonged when I was a kid. Church, school, scouts even. You know, my mom and dad smoked and drank and stuff, so I didn't belong in the church, I didn't belong in scouts. I got bullied a lot as a kid. So I remember I had a cousin that would steal cigarettes from the store, and we would go out behind the out in an alley and smoke cigarettes when I was like 7. I hated it, hated every second of it. It made me sick. I don't know why I kept doing it, but we would do that just about every day. By the time I was 10, I had been drunk a few times. I started smoking weed when I was 13, and that's when I really felt like, you know, I felt right, I guess. Me and my brother got very close. He's the one that introduced me to the weed, and smoking with him and his friends, I felt like I belonged. Felt like he was proud of me, and it was a way for us to bond. Growing up, I really just, I looked up to him a lot. I wanted to be like him. He was my hero, and so being able to hang out with him and his friends, that's all I wanted. 2001, I was 15, my brother got in a car accident and was killed. And my whole world was just turned upside down. Before this, I'd had some family members die, you know, but nothing like this. And after that, I just wanted to stay high all the time. I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling, and so I did whatever it took to not feel that way. Right after he had passed away, I went to the doctor and got on an antidepressant, and so I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 10, and so I told him that I was in pain, and he just gave me pain pills, lower tabs, and that's, I guess I had arrived. You know, I was following, I guess what I had always thought I would do. Kind of knew nothing else by that time, really. So by the time I was 18, I moved out. I had gotten with a girl, and she got pregnant. We moved out, got our own place. Things were really good. I was really happy, you know, my daughter was born, and she was my world. I was just so happy, and within a couple of years, things went south. There had been some infidelity, and I was crushed. I moved out, and my addiction really took a hold of me at that point. The only thing I knew, and the only thing I really wanted at that time, was my daughter, and I couldn't have her. And so my addiction really took a hold of me, and I started spiraling really fast. A few years later, I made the decision. I thought my daughter would be better off without me, and so I made the decision to give up my rights to her. And you know, I don't think that was the right choice. I think I made a big mistake, and that's the one thing in my life that I really regret. Not being there for her, but giving up on her, you know. So right around the time that me and her mom were splitting up is when I started doing meth. I was 21, I think, and it was different than the weed, and it took the pain away, I guess, or made me not think about it as much. And as soon as I started doing meth, my life really, really spiraled out of control. And it took me to this dark place that I didn't even know existed. So between the meth, the pills, my life had just really spiraled. So my wife today, we knew each other when we were kids. We kind of grew up together. Her family, her brother was like my brother, and their family had moved away right after my brother had passed away. And at this time in my life, when me and my ex were splitting up, is kind of when she moved back into town, and we got back together. And so our relationship started off with us using, and it's just the way our life was. It was just using, drinking. There was really nothing else. We're from a small town, and there's just really nothing else out there for us. I feel like once you cross that line, you kind of can't go back. So we're together for a few years, and I had given up my rights to my oldest daughter, and so she ended up getting pregnant with my daughter Jade, and I was like, I finally seen a way out of this disease, a way I could straighten my life up now. She had my daughter, and my disease was still there. It didn't get any better. Within the next couple of years, it just got worse and worse. And then she got pregnant with my son, and this time was going to be different. This time we were both going to stop. We were both going to get clean. I was going to be the dad that I wanted to be. It didn't even happen for a short amount of time. We come home from the hospital with my son, and it was just right back, didn't even skip a beat. And this whole time I'm thinking, like, this isn't who I want to be. I don't want to use anymore. At this time I wasn't getting high really. It was just to stay well enough to function and take care of my kids. It seemed like no matter how bad I wanted it, it just wasn't enough. So we both ended up getting charges, and DCFS got involved. And this is where I really understood how strong my addiction is, because I knew DCFS was coming, and I knew they were coming to take my kids because I wasn't clean. I mean, we were using, and I couldn't stop. I knew all I had to do was provide them with a clean UA, and they would leave us alone. They would be out of our life, and I couldn't do that. The day finally came when they came to take my kids, and it was a really traumatic thing. I had monitors set up, I had cameras set up around the house, and I looked up in the monitor, and there was just like 10, 15 cop cars out in my driveway, and next thing I know, they're banging on the door, and that's when I learned the first time that I realized I was powerless. I had no control over this situation. Like, they're here to take my kids, and And so that day, I put my 2 babies in the car of a state worker and watched them drive away. That wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me to get clean, to stop using. Because after that, we actually stopped using for like 3 weeks. We went through the withdrawals and everything at home, and as soon as it was in front of me again, I used. Brandon Novak says it the best, I think. He says that we have a disease that tells us we don't have a disease, and when our disease calls, we answer. And that's what I did. My kids are living with somebody else right now, and I'm getting high. And I feel like I can't do anything different. It took us 4 months to get into rehab. Once I finally made it through them doors, I was probably 120 pounds. I was right next to death, I think, and I made it through those doors. And my wife went to a different rehab, and I thought this was it. This is where I changed my life. I'm going to get my kids back, and I'm going to be the dad that I know I am. 30 days into this treatment center, my wife ended up leaving the treatment center that she was at. She went home, ended up relapsing, and because of this, DCFS says, that we basically have to start over. Where her progress is and my progress doesn't really matter because I'm staying with her. And I made it 81 days in treatment, inpatient, and then I graduated. In that time, my kids had been moved to 5 different foster homes before they made it to a home that would adopt them if that was the outcome. I went from inpatient treatment to sober living, and I think that was the best thing that could have happened to me. From there, I went to AA meetings every single day, at least one. Sometimes I would go to 2 or 3. I would go to the gym every single day. And I got a sponsor, and he took me through the steps in 3 months once I finally decided that I was going to work the steps, because I was one of the guys that were different, special. I didn't need the steps or the program really. I just and what it was is I was lazy and I didn't want to put in the work. But once I did, my life really changed. And it wasn't like just some magic thing that happened. It was just like I looked at everything differently. It was just a whole new perspective on life. After I got out of treatment, my wife went into treatment. She went to the same treatment center that I went to, which that was pretty cool. And while I was there at treatment, the techs, the case managers, my therapist, they did something for me that it was so special to me. And ever since then, I just wanted to do that, I wanted to give that to somebody else like they had given it to me. I'm in sober living. My wife is in treatment. We're still together. She got pregnant again. And at this time, things are going pretty good with DCFS, and we have a real good chance at getting our kids back. And So I got charged with something that I had nothing to do with. It was a false accusation, but I was charged with it. And so, DCFS's job is to keep the kids safe, and picking up this new charge, they wanted me to stay away from the kids. And at this point, we had just gotten the kids back into our home for a trial home placement, and they had been there for 2 weeks when my caseworker told me that I couldn't be around them unsupervised. And, I had put in all this work and got this apartment. I was doing everything. I was doing everything right. And so I took control of my life again, and I went back home with my kids, and the guardian ad litem had showed up, and I was there. So 3 hours later, DCFS came and took my kids again. I thought we were doing everything right, everything we were supposed to be doing. How could this be happening to me? I didn't do this thing that I was charged with, and why me? Why me? Why now? I got really stuck in that self-pity mode. I was like that for a couple of weeks, and well, actually it was longer than that, a couple of months, I think. And I'm facing at least 5 years in prison, losing my kids for good, over something I didn't do, and I was about to lose my mind. When I finally broke down, and I finally cried and prayed to God to just take it away from me, because I didn't know what to do with it. I had made a decision that no matter what happens, I will not use again. I will stay clean, and I will be a part of my kids' life, no matter what that looks like. Because I had already given up on one kid. I had given up on my daughter. And now I'm about to fail my other 2 kids. And I made that decision that wasn't gonna happen. And it just felt like when I made that decision, I don't know, I felt lighter. I just felt like everything was gonna be okay. And I think that's the main thing to life. I mean, that's how I live today. I tell clients and people every day, we have to accept the outcome, no matter what, because we're not in control of it. And at that time, I mean, the judge was in control of my life, 100%. I took a couple of months, I proved my innocence, I got the charge dropped, and it was a few months later after that, we got the kids back. My other boy was born, and this time I was actually there for it. I mean, I was there in the room with my other 2, but I wasn't there. This time I was there, sober, and grateful, just super grateful for my life, and being able to watch my son be born, come into this world knowing that I'm there and I'm actually able to be a dad. In my recovery, I have lost really close friends. I've lost my mother. She passed away. She actually passed away right before my son was born. But she did get to see me clean. She got to see me sober, and she got to see me get my kids back. I put her through a lot. It's being in this disease, it's the ones that love us the most that get hurt the most. And I put her through a lot. And I wasn't able to make amends to her before she passed away. And so today, I try to live my life making that amend to her. By just trying to be a good person, not allowing myself to be that person that I used to be. And same with my kids, they were really young. I can't really just say sorry for the things that they went through. And so that's how I make the amend to them, is just by living right. Today I have the opportunity to work in a treatment center, the same one I went to actually. I still have a sponsor I still work with. He is one of the most important people in my life. Today I get to talk to other addicts on a daily basis that are trying to save their own life. They come in crawling out of the pits of hell, and I get to help them because I'd been there. I'd been down to that lowest, darkest place, and I get to watch others come out of that place. I couldn't be more grateful. There's still a lot of work I have to do, of course. I have a disease that is incurable, and it will be with me for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that because I love the life that I live today. Being in recovery is a way of life, and I love it. I love everything it has brought for me, friendships, my family. I have a relationship with my sisters and my dad. My spirituality is the most important part of my recovery, because I know without that, I don't have anything. Without my relationship to God, I don't have my recovery. I don't have my family, and I don't have myself. I've proven that to myself time and time again. My biggest advice to anybody that is fresh in recovery is, first of all, don't give up, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. If we give up today, we'll never know. I made it through, losing my kids again, the death of my mom, my friends, a very good chance at not getting my kids back, and I wanted to give up. I wanted to give up really bad sometimes, but I didn't. I pushed through, and because of that today, I get to be a dad. I get to be there for my kids. I get to teach them, and I get to learn from them. I get to be a husband, and it's because I didn't give up. I pushed through. Get a sponsor, work the steps. If it doesn't work for you, then you haven't lost anything. Find a higher power that you understand, that you're comfortable with, that you can talk to.